Well, hello, Buckhead Church Podcast. Clay back with you. One of the most devastated industries in our society right now is the restaurant industry. The men and women that work at restaurants, bartenders, servers, chefs, cooks, managers, restaurant owners have just been absolutely turned upside down and are trying to figure out what life is going to look like in the future. And we as the church, we want to be people that help. We want to be generous. We want to be as helpful as we can to help people get back up on their feet. And so I had the chance to sit down with Ford Fry, who owns numerous restaurants, not just in Atlanta, but all over the U.S., to have a quick conversation to both illuminate us as to some of the real challenges that they're facing, but also to equip us with ideas on how we can help. So I hope you enjoy the interview that I did with Ford Fry. Here it is. Thank you for doing this, by the way. I know you've got a lot on your plate. I think a lot of the conversation I'd love to have with you is around what is happening to the restaurant industry. I mean, we can all imagine, we can all guess, and then we want to help. And so we want to get the word out to our church on how we can encourage people to help out the restaurant industry. Maybe before we get into that, though, you want to give everybody a little background on you. You own 100,000 restaurants in America, all the hottest cities in the U.S.
Yeah, let me tell you. So I grew up in Texas, kind of worked my way as a chef. Opened my first restaurant in Atlanta in 2007 and worked that one. That was JCT. Worked that for about 4.5 years. And then, really had a passion for people and younger chefs who kind of didn't have that ability or typically finance capital, to kind of get their own restaurant going. So I knew I could, restaurants really only as good as, who's there at that moment. It's not, and, I can't be there and be home with my family or whatever. So I just figured, let's let these guys do and these girls do what they do best. And so that just spurred this whole big passion of mine. I love the whole idea of, I kind of call it like producing restaurants, like a film producer produces a film. It's kind of like putting everybody together. I come to it, not as an actor per se, but I come into it as a chef. But then I like producing restaurants where it's, what is the restaurant? What does the neighborhood need? What are we passionate about cooking? What is the chef's talents? What kind of food does this chef cook, and what do they love cooking? And does that work for this location or whatever? So long story short, we are close to almost 20 restaurants. We were right about to open these 3 in Nashville and just had to put a hold. We did day 1 of first day of orientation. So that would have made 20 restaurants. So we have Atlanta, Houston, Nashville, Charlotte. So that's kind of where it's at.
That's cool. In Atlanta, you've got, I feel like I could name them all. I feel like I've eaten at all of them, but number 2, 4-6 in Decatur, Marcel, Beetle Cat, Superica, all the El Felix, or both El Felixes that are now Supericas. All of them are Supericas.
Yep.
What am I missing?
Oh, there's King and Duke, St. Cecilia. You're in Buckhead. You should know those two at least.
I missed the Buckhead one. But you really are. You're a magician, man. What you guys have done is remarkable. And you seem like you have a great team. I mean, you just have the people that work in your restaurants are just wonderful people. It reminds me of like a Chick-fil-A kind of thing where they're just terrific people and really great service. So I really feel for them in this season. I would imagine, it seems like it's fair to say the restaurant industry is getting rocked right now.
Yeah. I guess it all comes down to jobs and cash. It seems like the one thing about restaurants is we have food and we have access to food. So it's, that's a good thing. But I looked at it, I'm like, okay, when this first thing started happening, we started saying, okay, well, we can start doing some to go. And, we're paying basically all our salaried staff in full. We're paying for, all the hourly staff is furloughed, so they're protected leave, so they have access to the benefits. Since they're not making money, they can't. We don't see them being able to pay their portion of the benefits, so we're paying their portion of the benefits too, to kind of keep them afloat. We're trying to provide meals for them and get food for them as well, and stay in touch with them. But at the end of the day, when it comes to restaurant industry and the restaurant businesses, so the owners of the businesses have to look at, really, I call it just cash bleed. And I'm thinking, okay, how bad can it be? So I, called my partner and CFO, and he's like, he's run the models. And I'm like, okay, so we looked at this as like a 6.5 week thing. We started off, all right, what's 6.5 weeks and how many dollars is that? How bad could that be? And it's like $2.5 million for us. In 6.5 weeks, just goes right out the door. And, we just kind of have to look at it right now like, wow, that's a lot of money, and just another 6 weeks, that's another $2.5 million. So that's $5 million right there. And, we are bigger, we have grown, but there are a lot of, smaller restaurants, and I don't know how they can do that. Everyone's trying to do it. Maybe it's easier, but I don't think so. And how are they going to get started again? So I'm kind of how do you, when all this kind of hopefully passes, how are we going to bounce back? And what's the industry going to be like? What are the different factors that are going to happen when, it all somewhat starts to come back? So that's the one thing is, hunkering it down right now. I think, us as America, I think we've had it pretty good, and we, compared to the rest of the world, I spent time in Africa and all this. I'm like, listen, our problems are minimal compared to what's going on in other areas. So we're freaking out, which is fine. It's true. We should be freaking out because it's not what we're used to. But, I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry, but
I think you're right. It's going to create this. It is sobering, and it's going to create this new normal. I would imagine anyone working in your industry where the whole goal of it is to get people to gather together. It's going to change things. It seems like. I would love to talk about the future a little bit too, but let's talk about the now. Yeah. What can people do right now? I feel like you've done a remarkable job I feel like the word pivot is being used so much right now, but y'all have pivoted some where you're now delivering food to people. Did I miss that?
We stopped. We went from just to go in certain restaurants to right now we just kind of made the decision like, all right, let's shut down. We completely shut down, and we're saying, okay, well, let's shut down for 14 days just to protect our staff, and to do the right thing for the city. So we are shut down. That started yesterday, actually.
Oh, wow.
And that's just to kind of keep people safe, I think, and I think that's kind of the right thing to do. Hopefully we're being in America, we're going to be in a better position than we are than out, to Europe and all that, but I don't know. We don't know, but I think that's the minimum we can do. Because really the to-go dollars that are coming in, and other chefs are saying the same things, it's just so minimal. It's like drops in the bucket compared to how much cash is going out the door. So, I would say for those smaller restaurants who are still going, I would say still support them as much as you can. Go grab, food, and maybe even donate some extra cash if you have extra cash.
Right.
So I don't, and then when it's, in the future is really where it's going to be how people can help, so.
Well, I love how well you're taking care of your people, or at least trying to, and I hope that you'll be able to continue to do that. And I hope that our people can help as well. If, for those watching and listening today, if you know people that work in the restaurant industry, I hope that this will at least, I'm sure you have already become aware of just how devastating this is for them, but whatever you can do to help out, even personally to those people, I think that's fantastic. Anything else? Go ahead.
I did forget to mention, if you go to my bio and my Instagram, it's just Ford Fry is my Instagram bio. And we have a fund for our staff, it's 100% it's going to go strictly to those who are on furloughed right now. So and restaurant people are paycheck to paycheck. It is not anyone. When it stops, it stops. So that's just reality. So go to my Instagram and see that, or go to other restaurants. They're also doing funds as well. So whoever you want to support them.
Okay, I love that, Ford. That's the kind of stuff I was hoping for and looking for. So go to Ford's Instagram, his website. You can find this fund to be able to support people. One of the things I've been thinking about, Ford, is your Superica specifically. We live just a quarter of a mile from your Superica on Roswell Road, and we're there a lot. And you have provided our family a lot of really great moments. And I hope that we can return the favor and provide you some great moments and your team some great moments, even in this really difficult time. So I did want to say thank you for awesome. That. I'd love to end with, we were talking at the very beginning about stuff that you're doing while you're home. Let's end with something positive. Give us a couple of little tips for anybody. Everybody's preparing meals for themselves right now, and they probably don't have a lot of experience doing that. So any tips from you on what people could do tonight for dinner?
Wow. I'd say try something different. Have fun with it. You've got plenty of time on your hands. I say bring your family together. It's time to, I've got my couple of boys at home, and it's like time to teach them how to cook some stuff because they don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So pull them together. And if there's any tips, really be mindful and watch and try to use, all of the ingredients. Like, let me give you an example. So say if you go to the store and they say that they have whole chickens and they have boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Okay. Well, buy a whole chicken, because that whole chicken, you can put that chicken in a pot. You can cover it with cold water, a little bit of salt, simmer that chicken, and you've got multiple meals, because what that water is going to do, that water is going to turn into a broth, which is going to, could turn into a soup or could turn into whatever. The dark meat chicken could go into something else, and the white meat chicken can go into a chicken salad or something like that. So you've got all these multiple outlets for that. So I don't know. That's kind of where I go. I love stuff that, who knows how this is going to be, but it's at least fun. I love food that it takes a little while to cook. You take something that's more inexpensive, like I've got a brisket in my house right now that I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to hack this brisket up, and I'm pulling out, even though I wrote the recipes in the Tex-Mex cookbook that we did, or most of the recipes I did, or a lot of them actually. Sorry, some of them, a lot of them were Superica, but, there's things like carne guisada. If anyone's from Texas, that's basically like a Mexican stew, which is really fun. And you can buy, corn tortillas or whatever tortillas, or even make homemade flour tortillas, and kind of eat that with it. Because if you want to make a lot of it, then put it in little airtight containers and freeze it, and then you've got it for other meals. So I'd say just have fun with it.
That's great. That's what I was hoping for. Cook that whole chicken, use all of it, use the broth, use the dark meat, the white meat, and then I'm going to try to make my own tortillas the next couple of days as well. So,
all right.
Hey, Ford, thank you. Thanks for being a gift to our city, and I hope that we can be a gift to you and your team during this time.
Man, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
See y'all.